Right then guys, all gather around this way. So the stretch we're going to go for today is called the couch stretch. And the couch stretch is going to target your hip flexors. So your hip flexor muscles are in your pocket here, and their job is to lift your leg up. And in 21st century life, we often spend a bit too much time in this position here. So when we're sitting, we end up in this position. When we're driving, when we're on our phones potentially, and some people even sleep in that position. So these muscles here can get very tight, and if they're not stretched back out the other way, you lose that balance in the structure. And in the worst cases, you've probably seen a lot of elderly people, these muscles get so tight here that they end up in that position and they're not actually able to get out of it. And that's when the Zimmer frame comes out and they're sort of essentially stuck in that position. So that's why it's important to get these hip flexors nice and long and flexible, okay? For longevity. And the psoas muscle, which is the biggest one of the three hip flexors, attaches to the front of the hip and then the lower back as well. So if you suffer from any lower back pain or have in the past, then this is really, really important for you as well, okay? So a little bit of a quick demonstration and we're all going to do it together. You're going to come down onto the floor like so, both knees on the floor, and then put one knee into the corner of the wall, okay? So we're all just going to start in that position and I'll talk you through it all. And then from there, you're going to pick your left foot up and put it on the outside of your left hand. If you're very flexible, this might be okay. Or for a lot of you, this might be very painful. If it's excruciating, just move your knee away from the wall a little bit. If you get cramp in your foot, that's completely normal as well if you've not done this position before. Yeah, for a lot of guys, this is very painful. The first time I did it, it was as well, so. Enjoy this position. And we're going to do 3 rounds on each side. So if you're not feeling too bad in this position, just eyes up and look at me. You're going to inhale, bum towards the wall. Exhale, push the hip towards the floor. Inhale, exhale. 5 breaths. I'm definitely worse this side. So stretching should be painful, but not agony, okay? So you want to be in discomfort, but it shouldn't ever feel agony. If it's agony, you've gone too far. So 7, 8 out of 10 on the pain scale is good. Anything more than that is not so good. So try and breathe and connect to the muscle. Inhale, bum towards the wall. Exhale, hips towards the floor. So you're coming in and out of the stretch like so. Good pain faces, guys. It's fun watching everyone else in pain, isn't it, Ross? Not just us for once.
So where should I be feeling it, Tom?
So initially, you're probably going to feel it just above the knee, in the quad. Yeah, you'll get a bit of a stretch there as well. So when your quads are really tight, you can't actually get into the hip flexor yet. So you may feel it mainly in the meat of the leg, which is your quad. And then eventually, as you've seen some of the ladies do here, you'll get further up into the hip flexor. But initially, especially in the morning as well, you can be very tight in this position. So initially, all we're doing is really stretching out that quad and the front of the shin before we can get into that hip flexor. Because then we're going to go back onto the first side. And now you might find it's a little bit easier, okay? If you want to stand up and shake it off a little bit first, feel free. So over time, guys, most people take sort of, I would say 3 to 6 weeks to actually get into a decent position on this. So if it's your first time doing it and you're really, really struggling with it, completely normal. I did as well. And then eventually what will happen is you can get hands on knees like so and start to straighten up. And this is where we can then get into the hip flexor. We can get the glutes engaged, pushing forwards and then coming back, like so. And make sure you're not arching your back if you are doing that, okay? So the hips are tucked under, and then you'll feel the stretch starting to come up the quad and into the hip flexor a bit more. You can do at home if you find this very difficult at the moment. It's called a couch stretch because, obviously American, but if this is your sofa and that's the floor, you can have a cushion on the floor and then your foot can go over the sofa like this. And that just makes the stretch a little bit easier. But I didn't want to make it easy for you today. I want to go straight into the hard one, which is on the wall. So that's the easier version for you, okay, if you are struggling with this and you want to do it at home. So yeah, let's go into the third round if you haven't already. And you should find now that this will move more than the first round. Maybe it's literally a centimeter at the moment. The better you get at it, you'll be able to progress more each round. But don't force it, like I said. 3 to 6 weeks of doing this. Genuinely, you can do it every day. I found, particularly for myself, if I've ever had knee pain, my hip flexors and quads can get very tight from all the training that we do. So doing this stretch daily will pretty much eradicate my knee pain if I'm staying hot on it. If my knees start to hurt and I go back to this and I'm tight, I'm like, yeah, this is probably what it is. Same with lower back pain as well. If you're suffering from lower back pain, get this stretch in. So at your own pace now, third time on each side. And I promise that's the painful part done. We've got some fun stuff coming up next.